Again, let's get back to the Gemara over here. It's the last third of the page on Ayin Amid Beis. Amr Rav Yudah Mishmul Arba Meos Avodim, 400 Canaanite slaves. Abrilo Arbos Lofim Avodim, 4,000 slaves. Hoylo the Pashkar ben Emor. This person, Pashkar ben Emor, he was a Kohen, and evidently he was a wealthy man, and he was a minister in the king's court. So the Maharsha explains they all ate truma. So if they ate truma, an Eved is permitted to eat truma. So they passed themselves off as Kohanim. And so they married women. The question is, Rashi says they married daughters of Kohanim. Of course, they were Kohanim. They passed themselves as Kohanim. And they all assimilated into families of Kohanim, but they were avodim. So what are their children? Their children are chalolim. Right? Eved Abo Bas Yisrael, we will have not kosher, but it's not a Kohen. We call Kohen Sheish Lo Azus Ponim Enu Elo Mehem. If you come upon a Kohen who's brazen, he's from that family, from those slaves who assimilated into the families of Kohanim. Omer Abayu, Amar Abai Kulon Yasun B'Shur de B'Nerdo. Question: where are they located? In Bavel. B'Shura de Nerdo, B'Suri de Nerdo, B'Surio de Nerdo. In Syria and in Nerdo. Uplig the Rebbe Loza, the Omer Rebbe Loza argues, no. Imruisa Kohen Bazus Meitzach Altar Achrov. If you see a Kohen acting arrogantly, you shouldn't be concerned that he's illegitimate. You shouldn't question his behavior. Shenema va'amcho kimri Kohen. Amcho means the commoners. The commoners behave like the quarreling Kohanim. So it's interesting. Maharsha explains over here, says something interesting. A person should be Mavra al Yidosov. You should look away. What about if a person is a person of status? Kohen is a special pedigree. Even though he should, you have to be really special. He feels based on my status, on my distinction, I don't have to look away. I don't have to let it go. So the Kohen demands recognition, and he behaves in a way which, as if he's an elitist, like he's an elitist. Amcha Kimrivi Kohen. The commoners behave like the quarreling Kohanim. The quarreling Kohanim, they justify their behavior. But an ordinary person, what's your distinction? You should behave this way. So that's the way the Maharsha explains the passage. Amcha Kimrivi Kohen. Amcha means the ordinary people. They behave like the quarreling Kohanim. But why do the Kohanim? It's like the Gemara says, a person who's wealthy, who's arrogant, although it's a flaw, Hashem, puts up with it. Of course, we say that wealth, it causes arrogance. But if a poor man's arrogant, what do you have to be arrogant about? It says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot tolerate that person. A wealthy man, he puts up with his nonsense. But a poor man who is arrogant, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashem despises him. It's the same thing. The Kohen, the Amcha behaves like Kamrivi Kohen. What? Yeah. I'm a Roy. You ever see people come from wealthy families? They believe they're God's gift to humanity. Okay, so they're arrogant because they feel they're elitists. The Kohen believes because he's an elitist, he has a right to behave to demand certain things. Omre Bovin, Varavado, Omar Rav Kolanosi Isha Sheinu Geneslo. A person marries a woman who's not appropriate for meaning. It's not really a pedigree or even an apostle. It's a question to be shown what this means. He will attest to the purity of all the Shvatim they made all of. He will not in any way establish him as a pure Jew or his progeny. Shenemar, Shiftei Koh, Edus L'Israel. If you Shiftei Koh, there will be confirmed through testimony. A Mosai of Edus L'Israel. When will they be established as Jews? Is Macha Shvat Shiftei Koh. If they Shiftei Koh, what is Shiftei Koh? So the Mashovi cites the Gemara. The Gemara says that if the Sholem bein ish leishto, the Shechina beinayim. Right? A husband and wife live in peace, then the Shechina is there. If not, ain't Shechina beinayim. So how do you differentiate between the spelling of Isha and Isha? Howard. Ish is Yud, and the woman has a Hey. Yud K is Shechina. If the Sholem beinayim, then it's Ish v'Isha. Ish v'Isha, that's Sholem. But if they don't live in peace, the Shechina removes itself, so what are you left with? Ayin, Aleph, Shin, Eish, fire, disaster. So the same thing. If they're a pedigree, then the Shechina is there. Then it's Shechina beinayim. Then the Shiftei Koh. And if they come from illegitimate line, the lineage is really illegitimate, then it's not called. Yud K is not there. No, always, anytime. The Gemara later is going to say that's why who was conscripted into the army of David? Only people who were miyuchosim. People of pedigree, they were. If you weren't pedigree, they weren't. Because what do you need for victory? The Shechina should be with you. But if it's not, the Shechina is not there.
What does that mean? If the Shechina is not there,
You don't have divine assistance. You merit divine assistance only if you have that special pedigree.
Like in someone's house, like in a battle. When the Shechina is there or not there.
Then if there's shalom, if there's peace between people, the Shechina is there. So then they function properly as a husband and wife. But if there is no peace, Hashem is out of there. And if he's out of there, then there's no harmony in the family. And it's interesting, but based on this, I once told over a story of Moshe Feinstein. Moshe was, there's a mikvah on the Lower East Side. I told him the story. And this mikvah serviced that whole area. It was unbelievable. Small, tiny mikvah. It was a women's mikvah. Men used to use it very few. There were no Hasidim on the Lower East Side. Very few men used the mikvah. And there was a certain observant Jew. He was a lawyer. He had the mortgage on the mikvah. And there was always a question. He was always threatening. If they don't pay it off, he's going to sell the building. You might not have a mikvah. And this man was a Shomer Shabbos person. But most of the people who were on the board, they were wealthy Jews, but they were traditional Jews. And they were on the boards of the shuls on the Lower East Side. There's a shul, Bialystoker shul. It was considered a prestigious shul. So Rav Moshe was the president of the mikveh, and he presided over the group. So whenever they have a meeting 2 or 3 times a year, he would preside. Comes to the meeting, and right away, they start fighting and quarreling and arguing, among themselves. And they all spoke Yiddish, these people, even though they weren't 100% observant. And Rav Moshe says to the group, in Yiddish, I see, there's a fighting, they're arguing, there's machlokes. The Satan Satan is here, there's machlokes. If so, I'm leaving. He says, he says, that's what he spoke. I'm afraid. Sudden's here now, I have to leave. So one of these people was an extreme ignoramus, says to Rav Moshe Feinstein, he says, if the rebel is Hatmoira, Krishna. This is what he says to Rav Moshe. If the little rabbi is afraid, you should say Shema. What does the person do when he's afraid? You say Shema. That's what he says to Rav Moshe Feinstein. I mean, the man didn't even understand. This man wasn't worthy to kiss the ground where Rav Moshe Feinstein stood. But that's what he said to Rav Moshe. But factually, if there's machlokas, the Shekhinah is not there. Right? Not there, the Shekhinah leaves. Same idea. Right? Same. If the pedigree is lacking, it's not right, there's no Shekhinah. There's no Shekhinah, nothing good could come out. The end result can't be anything good. Om Reb Chomer Reb Chanina, when he allows his divine presence to dwell, it's only the families that are Yuchosos, families of pedigree, of legitimacy. Now it's interesting. There's a Chazal, why did Hashem not give the Torah to the nations of the world and only gave it to Klal Yisrael? Because we were able to prove that our pedigree, and they couldn't prove theirs. And they came with a claim. What are you favoring the Jews? What? It's a measure, Yalkut. What are you favoring the Jews? Why don't you give it to us? He says, could you prove your pedigree? You're all products of incest and adultery and everything else. And they agreed. Therefore, I gave the Torah to the Jews, not to you. What does one thing give to another? Again, in Ashkin, what's Torah? Torah is what? Yisrael v'Raisav v'Kudshu Chadu. We only link, our linkage to Hashem is only through the Torah. So what that Shechina, so Ein Ashkin Yisrael, as it says, Al B'Shvachs B'Yichosas B'Yisrael, so because we B'Yichosas, we had that lineage, therefore we have relevance to Torah. The nation of the world who did not, that's the reason why they rejected, they weren't offered the Torah. It's a Gemara. The other's a Gemara. That he offered it to them. No, they turned it down. No, that's something else. No, you're not reading the Gemara right. No. No, two different things. Warren Abudazar has nothing to do with this. Warren Abudazar is speaking of getting reward at the end of time. Not that Torah should be given to you. The Gemara Shabbos speaks about why the Torah wasn't, why he offered the Torah. Each one rejected it for his own reason. That's a Gemara. What I'm telling you now is a medrash. It's a Yalkut. It's different. It's a whole different. It's a different understanding. It's what the Masorah is Torah Shabbat Peh. Okay. Where do we see this? Where do we see that the Shechina is only Shor al Mishpochim Yichosot Yisrael Shenemar Beisahig Num Hashem Eyel Elokim L'chol Mishpos Yisrael. I will be a God to all the families. So it uses the term Mishpos Yisrael L'chol Yisrael Nemar. It doesn't say to all Jews. What is the connotation of families of Jews? Right? Elo L'chol Mishpos V'hema Yuli Lom, and they will be my people. If it's mishpachos, meaning there's a lineage, a legitimate lineage, I will be Eyel Elokim. Omer Rabba Rav Huna Zumali Yiseri Yeshve Yishar Lagerim. Here, this is the special distinction a person who's original Jew has over a ger, a convert. V'yilu Yisrael Ksiv B'hu V'yisu Lohem Lelokim V'hem Yiyu Lom. I will be their God, and they will be my people. So what is it? It starts from Hashem to the people. But by Gerim, Ksiv Mihu Zeh Orev Orav Eslibo Logeshes Elai. Who has the ability or the responsibility to approach me? Num Hashem V'yisim Lilom. Meaning, if the non-Jew has to approach God for God to have a relationship with. With the Jew, God approaches us, and then we're His people. With the non-Jew, he has to take the initiative to want to be the Jew for God to have a relationship with him. If the non-Jew takes the approach, he wants to convert, God will be his God. He's welcome to convert, but it has to be totally his own initiative. The second, no, they're two different. One's in Cheskel, and one's in Yirmiyah. Two different psukim. Now, this is the famous Gemara. Famous Gemara here. Gemara Yevomis also. Omer Reb Chelbo, Koshim Yisrael Yisrael Kesapachas. It's interesting. This Tosas offers four interpretations of the Gemara. What this means. It says, converts to the Jewish people are the equivalent of leprosy. Leprosy. I mean, it's a negative. Where do we see this? It's a pasuk in Yeshaya. V'nil v'ager aleim v'nisku beis Yaakov. The ger, the convert, will be associated with them, and they will attach themselves. They will come upon the Beis Yaakov, the house of Yaakov. But it uses the nispachu. What is the word? What does it connote? Nispachu. When it speaks of the various intensities of white regarding the lesions, one is called seis, one is called sapachas. So from here we learn Koshim Ger Yisrael Kisapachas. Now let's see Tosus. So Rashi says, bottom Rashi, Koshim Gerim She'enim Zirim Mitzvos, because they're not really meticulous in the observance of the mitzvos. Ragilam Etzo, so therefore those who are associated with them, they're bad role models. Nimshochem Etzlom V'lomdim Min Maseim, they learn from their ways. So therefore they're not a good representation. Okay? We'll see Tosas learns Rashi says two things. Take a look at Tosas. Hirsch Bekunches, Lefi She'enin Bikim B'mitzvos, since they're not well versed, they're not proficient in the mitzvos. Umevim Puranus, Therefore, they create tragedy. The old, the two things. Because they don't observe mitzvahs and they're Jews, therefore we have culpability for them. They bring tragedy on the Jewish people. In addition, Shemalamdim es Yisrael mimasem. Jews learn from their ways. They're not a good good example. That's one. Yesh Meforshim fi Yisrael Kol Yisrael Araven Zeh Gozeh. Every Jew is responsible for the other one. V'lav milks. So therefore, so the non-Jew doesn't, if the convert doesn't behave properly, so Jews are culpable for the misbehavior of the convert. So Tosas says something interesting. V'lav milks. He dismisses it. There's no. It's incorrect. The holo nisarvu b'shvul hagerim shekiblu haTorah. When we speak about Jews accepted responsible for one another, there's only people who are original Jews. The converts were not included within our Arevos. Comes out a tremendous chiddush from here. I mean, why could there's no Arevos, no Kol Yisrael Arevos Elders? So that's the question. I mean, no. If you made Kiddush already, you heard Shofar already. The Ran explains the only reason why you could cover another Jew, even though you executed your own mitzvah, because Kol Yisrael Arevos Elders, because I'm responsible. Since he hasn't yet fulfilled his obligation, I'm responsible. According to this, it becomes a problem. So we'll make a differentiation. A person's a convert. If you weren't Yotzei, so he could be Yotzei with you. But if you were Yotzei, if the basis is Arevos, Kol Yisrael Arevos Elders, how could you be Motzei? You can't be Motzei. First, there's a question, a famous argument between the Nodi Yehuda and the Nodi and someone else. We say Arevos for a woman. We say Kol Yisrael Arevos Elders for a woman, or it's only among men. Okay, there's a question. So if there's no Arevos, so if you Yotzei, you can't be Motzi a woman. You cannot. I mean, halacha, we don't rule this way, but Tosaf's position is regarding a convert, and he quotes a Gemara. We're talking about the original convert. I mean, let's say they marry an original Jew, and the children are already original Jew. You have two converts, and continuously, then it's still the converts. Nimtzul kol echem yishmeos elef gimel alofim tav kufnum briso shkul nisar b'zeh alma lav nisar ben agerim sheharbe erev rav ola itom. There was rabble who left Egypt with us. Yesh meforshim the koshen gerim l'Yisrael sabachas. Listen to this. V'shehizer HaKadosh Baruch Hu meim chovdal b'kolmos. You know, there's a mitzvah v'aftis hager. As you have a mitzvah v'aftorech, there's a special mitzvah to love a convert, and you're not permitted to grieve a convert. In many things. But people, unfortunately, they aren't sufficiently sensitive. So since the Torah in 24 locations speaks about how careful you have to be with a convert, it's nearly impossible to be that careful. So by having converts, so it's not a criticism of the convert. It's just the reality, it creates a pitfall for us. Because we're not careful enough. You know, there's Ravitzel Petterberger. Ravitzel Petterberger, that was one of Rabbi Shoslander's three special students. His name was Rabbi Yitzhak Blazer. He was called Rabbi Yitzhak Petterberger because he was the chief rabbi of Petersburg. That's why he's called. So Rabbi Yitzhak Petterberger, he was a widower. He married a woman who was a widow, and she had children. They were Yisomim, and he had children from her. He was an older person already. He treated the children of his wife more special than he treated his own children. We're talking about the man was a malach, the way he behaved. And why? There's a mitzvah. You have to they're orphans. You have to be extra sensitive and careful with an orphan. And his level of dedication and sensitivity to them was not to be believed, more than his own children. Why? Because there's a mitzvah. You have to treat an orphan in a very special way, and not there's a reaction from Hashem. So because the Torah says you have to be sensitive in 24 locations regarding the convert. So therefore, he says, the efshesh lo yitzari, and it's something that's an impossibility not to. You know, this famous story of Avram ben Avram. You know, the Ger, Count Potocki, was burnt at the stake at the time of the Vilna Gaon. You know, he was the Prince of Poland, and he fled, and he converted, and he was in hiding. How was he discovered? So the Franciscan order, they discovered him. They arrested him and they put him to death. They burnt him. It was a public burning. This was in the 1700s. How did they discover him? You know how they discovered him? He was a man. He was sitting in some village learning. He had dressed like a Jew. He had a beard. He had payas. He had everything. And there were some children who came in to the shul where he was learning, and they made a ruckus. And the father didn't take control of his kids. So he said to them, shh. That's all he said to them. The father was a tailor. The father knew, people knew that he was the convert. He was that. Who are you, convert, telling my children to keep quiet? Here? He was offended. You know, you're a newcomer. You're telling my children to keep quiet. This is our location. You should be privileged we're allowing you even to come in here. So he, because it was said, he put out the word that he's in that community. Once he put out the word, it got back to the Franciscan order, and that's how he was arrested. They arrested him. Eventually, they burnt him at the stake. So again, people have a certain thing. You know, he's a convert. He's this. He's that, and they're treated like second-class citizens. And that's why the Torah goes out of its way to tell you there's a special mitzvah avos hager, v'ahavta es hager, for that reason. ויש מפורשים, כפי שעל ידי גרים, ישראל בגודלוס כדאמר, ממה ישראל מפוזרים בכל הארצות. Now there's the famous Rav Chaim Volozhiner. Rav Chaim Volozhiner passed away in what was it, 1860. 1860. So he said already in the earlier part of the 1800s that the last Goldos, the last stop before Bias Mashiach, is the United States of America. Why? Because he says that there's souls throughout the world, and he says if you track the migrations of the Klal Yisrael throughout history, they went to certain locations, they stayed there for hundreds of years, and after that, they went on to other locations. Because there were souls in that location that had to be converted, and the only way it was possible for them to be converted, they had to be exposed to this intensity of Kedusha, which is Klal Yisrael. He says the only location which Klal Yisrael wasn't yet was the northern hemisphere, the United States especially. Therefore, that is the last stop. In Yiddish, it was called in Europe, it's called the last stancia. When they would have to rent a room, the yeshiva students, they would go the stancia is America. That's the last stop off. And that's exactly what he's saying. Why are we dispersed throughout the world? Because we have to, it's like a minesweeper, because we have to take the converts, these souls have to be converted. That's quoting the Gemara. Why the Jewish people scattered through all the lands? So the Gerim should join the ranks. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. He says he rejects it. He says, the Gemara says, a non-Jew wants to convert, we discourage him from converting. We don't encourage it. In the worst way, we discourage him. Teida, she'Yisrael dovim d'chufim. What do we tell the non-Jew? He says, Jews are persecuted, they're mistreated, they're diseased. They want to be part of a diseased, persecuted, discriminated people. Why do we speak in such a way? Because we don't want the convert to convert. So why are we discouraging them? We're saying because since it's a detriment to us, that's the reason why we discourage them. That's he's quoting the Gemara in Yevamos. But if we were there to encourage it, why do we discourage it? So we see Koshel Sabachas, not because that's why we're scattered throughout the world. It's to the contrary. We see over there, even if he wants to convert, we don't allow him to convert. The answer is no, because once they convert, that's the difficulty. When they convert, so as he said before, they're not meticulous in the observance, they're bad role models. Now, what? The other way. Now, the closing opinion Tosis, Rabbi Avram Ger, famous position. There was a person who was one of the Bali Tosis, his name was Avram Ger. Ger. Avram the convert. Pirush Vishagerim Bikiyim b'mitzvos. Yeah. The converts are proficient in the mitzvahs, umedagdikin bohem, and they're meticulous in the observance. Koshem heim liyisrael kasapachas. Therefore, you know something? They make us look bad. Avram Ger says that's the reason. The mitoch kein HaKadosh Baruch Hu maskav nosein shel Yisrael. If what does God say? If this is the way the convert behaves, you're original Jews. Why aren't you minimally behaving this way? So what does it do? It actually brings about prosecution on Klal Yisrael. The exemplary behavior of the convert. Kishein osin ritzono, when Jews don't behave properly. Chai gavim otzino gabi hatzorfis. The woman, what happened? Eliyahu Novi she'omra mali v'loch ish elokim bos elai lahasker savoni. He says, since you've come to me, now my sin is being mentioned. Why? Shemitoch shu tzaddik gomor hoyanira lo shemasker Hashem avona. Because now we speak about comparatively speaking. Until now, I'm the best of the. This is explicit in the Torah with Lot. With Lot. Lot says, I want to flee to a certain community, to Tzoar. Why? Because he says, now if Sodom is being destroyed, it's a time of judgment. If I'm in the proximity of Avram, I'm going to look really bad. But if I go somewhere else, the little bit I have is going to be seen in a positive way. Therefore, I don't want to be compared to Avram, because that will evoke prosecution. That's what she said. So if the Gerim act exemplary, even though they're converts, it makes us look really bad. So this evokes prosecution on us. Therefore, it's kosher kesapachas. This is Avram Ger's interpretation of the Gemara. Re Pirish. No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But factually, it creates problems for us.
Right, but it's our problem, not theirs. That's how we should improve ourselves. Fire us.
But you have to deal with fact. Fact is fact. Jews misbehave. And fact, if the convert, because he converted for admirable reasons, for the right reason, he's going to act special. So therefore, it creates problems for the Jews. He has a potential that his soul, the Ramchal says, how do you take a non-Jewish soul and make it into a Jewish soul? Jew has another neshama than a goy. Different neshama, that's why Jew has different degree of obligation. Right? Non-Jew is only shed mitzvah may know, a Jew has tiring mitzvahs. So how, when you convert, how does this metamorphosis take place? It's a different reality. That's what Ramchal goes to explain. So Ramchal explains that it's like grafting something onto a tree. If you graft a branch onto a tree, and the graft is done properly, now that branch becomes part of the tree. When the convert converts with the proper intent and undergoes what the Torah prescribes, Mila and Tefillah, that's the way he attaches himself. Once you're attached, now you become functioning. You take on the spiritual, your system becomes a spiritual system, similar to the system that now that you're attached to. So the energy of the Jew now flows through his neshama. So by attaching his neshama to Nishmas Yisrael, that's how his neshama becomes a Jewish neshama.
Why don't we have a right to build that in here?
No, we're going. That's something else.
Part of it.
No, but he's not. He's part, but he's still not kohol, right? Atem kriyom kohol. We rule halacha. He's not kohol. That's why a ger, he can marry mamzer for that reason. So he doesn't have that same distinction. He's an attachment.
He can marry anybody.
He can marry even a legitimate person, because no. No, he could marry Basko, but because she doesn't have any special status, Basko, right? But if a woman converts, even less than 3 years old, she's not qualified for a Kohen. Levi's? No. The repirish l'fich kosher hinitmu b'Yisrael ben hashchina shorei el hamishpochim yichosos. Is this the reason? If the convert is not, as he said earlier, it's not only it's families of pedigree. So if they intermingle, so therefore we have less relevance to the Shechina. Otherwise, what is Reb Chelbo all of a sudden? Nidin was the assimilated. Assimilated. Al-Hod, Milsa, the Rab Chomer Bar Chanina. Okay, let's go a little further. We have another 5 minutes. Omer Rab Chomer Bar Chanina, Ksharish Bochum Etayr, Shvotim. At the end of time, there's a time of Mashiach when he will establish the purity of the tribes to determine who is pure, who's qualified, who's not. Shivto Shel Levi Mitar Tchila. He will first establish the purity of Shevet Levi. Why? But we'll see. It's speaking specifically of the Kohanim. Shevet Levi means the Kohanim. Doesn't mean the man who gets Levi for the Aliyah. Mitar Shvot Mishivto Mitar Tchila Shenemar. Look at the pasuk. It says V'yoshev Mitzarif U'Metayer Kesef. He will establish through the crucible to purify the silver. V'tir B'nei Levi. He will purify, establish the purity of the B'nei Levi who are qualified or not. V'zikek osam K'zov Chesef. He will purify them as gold and silver. V'hoyu Lashem Magishe Mincha B'tzedakah. And there will be those who bring close the mincha with righteousness. Who's the Magishe mincha? Who's qualified to officiate with the mincha? We're talking about the Kohen. So what says Shevet Levi, it means, because the Kohen's also part of Shevet Levi. And what is the Kohen to receive Meiser? Torah says explicitly, the one who receives Meiser is the Levi. But yet halacha is a Kohen can take Meiser, take 10% tithe, because the Kohen's also a Levi. He's an advanced Levi, but he's a Levi. So we're speaking about he will be Metaria. The Gemara, what's B'tzedakah? With righteousness. Omer B'shua ben Levi, Kes Metarim Mamzera. Famous expression, but it's taken out of context. Guys, man's rich. Kesef Metarim, the man is a mamzer. Right? But Kesef Metarim Mamzera. Right? What does this mean, Kesef Metarim Mamzera? So Rashi explains. Yeah. Where is it? Ha-mitumoyim b'Yisrael machmas mamonim. Now, how do people who were illegitimate, how did they somehow intermarry where they were not permitted? Because they intimidated people and they took kosher wives, and because of the money, their power, they were able to do things which were not legitimate. So how kesem mitar mamzerim? So we'll see in a moment. Because of their wealth initially, that created the problem. Despite that, Hashem will be mitar them, because we're going to see what we discussed yesterday. If people are, the assimilation issue was a serious issue at the end of time, Hashem will not expose those people, and He will accept them and allow them to be considered qualified Jews, even though in truth they're not. As you say, only God knows. But what God knows, He will not reveal, and He will allow them to be treated as what? As kosher Jews. Because of the kesef originally, therefore He'll be Matar Mamzerim. Therefore, at the end of time, God will purify, will not reveal the illegitimacy of the Mamzer. Shenemar, the Yoshiv Mitzarif Matar Kesef, my Magishi Mincha, B'tzedakah. What does it mean? Those who bring the Mincha B'tzedakah. Omer Rabbi Yitzchak Tzedakah Sakadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. God did righteousness with the Jewish people. That the family had assimilated with all its illegitimacy, He leaves it under wraps. He leaves it. He does not reveal it. No. He's not going to reveal anything. If it's one individual, He will reveal it. But if it's really a serious problem, you have communities which are intermingled over time, and it's something you'd have to, a very significant percentage of it be classified illegitimate, Hashem will leave it to be. He will leave it be, and they will be accepted as kosher Jews. No, it says Mamzerim. Because originally, as a result of their wealth, there was assimilation. Therefore, at the end of time, He will purify those people. He will not reveal their illegitimacy. But how did it originally happen? Because they had money. Wealth is power. They're able to do things which were not correct. But because the problem became such a serious problem, God will purify them by not revealing who they are. I mean, He will treat them as if they're pure Jews. not a problem. It's not a problem. But God, by not revealing, we have a principle. If the person eats something based on the principle of chazokah. The person drinks milk. Because the animal, there's a presumption, rov. Most animals don't have internal defects. They're not treifa. Rov bemis aksheros. You drink the milk. Let's say factually, the animal you drank the milk from was a defective animal. Did you do the wrong thing? God says you have a right to rely on rov. The majority of Jews are kosher Jews, right? They are. They're legitimate Jews. But God knows that they're not, right? You never know. How you permitted to marry anybody? Torah says you have a right to rely on rov. You do your investigation. Seems to be okay, but you never know. You don't have to worry. No. Anything that you're able to reveal, you have an obligation to reveal. This is only God. We're talking things this only God knows at this point. So if only God knows, God leaves it. So, throughout history, we rely on rov. God says the majority of Jews are legitimate. But how did the problem originally happen? Because of the kesef. Because of the financial wealth, they were able to do things which were not acceptable. That's kesef, mitar mamzer. Because of the kesef, he'll have to purify at the end of time the mamzerim.